Hello, today we're looking at the eighth fruit of the Spirit, which is gentleness. And in Psalm 18, verse 35, we can learn a little bit about God's gentleness towards David. As David says, "You have given me the shield of your salvation, and your right hand supported me, and your gentleness made me great." Now, David here is acknowledging that God's kind of fatherly gentleness really helps David, potentially in times of war and battle. And we can also learn of God's gentleness in Matthew 23 and Luke 13, where God talks about wanting to gather his people Jerusalem as a hen gathers her brood under her wings. You know, we can see God's kind of gentle heart, his kind of motherly kind of caring nature, if you like, in this passage of how God, you know, wants to look after his people. He wants to almost mother them in a gentle and caring way. But, you know, we also know he's our Father God as well. And I think it's no kind of coincidence that C.S. Lewis paints Aslan in the Chronicles of Narnia as both a kind of gentle but also a fierce, ferocious lion. You know, Aslan, you know, was the lion that would comfort, and he would you know be with those when they were in need, when they were feeling vulnerable. He would care for them. You know, a bit like, you know, God in Matthew and Luke, looking after kind of the brood of chicks as a hen would kind of mother over them. But we also know he's a fierce God, a God of justice, a God who, you know, when Jesus came to earth, he turned the tables over and stood up for what's right. You know, we can learn both those things about God, but he is a God of gentleness, and if you are feeling vulnerable or weak, he does want to come alongside you and comfort you, like we've seen in some of these passages. In the Bible, some of the reasons why it's good to be gentle kind of for ourselves, you know, we can learn a lot about gentleness by looking at God and how we can kind of follow his gentle nature. But some of the reasons for us to be gentle, kind of moving on, in Proverbs 15 verse 1, it says, "A soft answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger." And you think, if there's one way to avoid an argument, this verse is kind of saying, you know, let's gently converse with people. If you've got a disagreement, let's talk about it in a gentle, calming way. That's more likely to resolve the situation rather than kind of going all guns blazing and trying to win your argument by who can shout the loudest. That isn't going to work very well, is it? In Titus 3 verse 2, it basically says that we should speak well of everyone and respect everyone. And being gentle in this way, again, is kind of going to help to reduce conflict with other people. Gentleness is really key to maintaining peace. And you can still have a disagreement with someone, but if you talk about it in a gentle, calming way, I think you're more likely to find a resolution, because the person's going to be more understanding to listening to you and what you have to say, rather than if you're going in all guns blazing. Another example in 2 Timothy 2 verse 24 to 26, it's talking about correcting people with gentleness. So kind of similarly to what we're looking at of an argument. If someone has wronged you, or if someone has said something that is wrong, to correct them, let's do it in a gentle, loving, calm way. Again, you know, that the person's going to be more willing to respond to that if it's done gently, rather than if you're telling them, no, that was wrong, like, how dare you do that, that was completely wrong. People are going to be put off by that approach. We can also learn of telling others about Jesus in 1 Peter 3 verse 15, which tells us to tell other people about our faith with gentleness and respect, not in a forceful way that thrusts the gospel down people's throats, in a gentle, kind of loving way, being open to hearing what they have to say about what they believe in their faith, and then gently and respectfully saying, you know, I completely hear what you're saying, I respect what you believe in, you know, but have you ever considered this? Have you ever considered, you know, if God was real, you know, what would that mean for your life? Have you ever considered, you know, what it would mean if Jesus did actually die for you? You know, that would change everything. If you do that in a calming, gentle way, people might actually be more open to thinking what you have to say, rather than saying, no, Jesus died for you, if you don't believe, you're going to hell. That's not how to do it, is it? People are going to be put off by that. That's not in love. God tells us to do everything in love. And he's the perfect example of love and gentleness in this way. And, you know, as we've said before, the closer you are to God, the more time you spend with him, the more naturally gentle you're going to be, the more in tune you are with the Spirit, the more the Spirit's going to fill your heart and fill your actions and fill your words in a gentle, calming way, which, you know, turns away wrath with a soft answer, and knows how to speak to someone in the right way about a certain situation, or tell someone about Jesus in a calming, loving, you know, non-forceful way. The closer you stay to God, you know, the more naturally you're going to be able to talk to people in that way. It really is the key to having the fruit of gentleness flow out of you.